3 days after the rescue, Torrin stood on Earth for the first time. The planet was beautiful. Blue oceans covered most of its surface. Green forests grew across the land. White clouds floated in a sky that was softer and kinder than any sky Torrin had ever seen. He stood in a large garden outside, a government building in a city called Seoul. Flowers bloomed all around him. Birds sang in the trees. A warm wind touched his face. Beside him stood Park Jisoo. She looked different than he remembered. Her face had more color now. Her eyes were bright instead of scared. She was wearing a simple white dress with flowers in her hair. She was smiling. "Thank you for coming to Earth," she said. "I know it is strange for you." "It is beautiful," Torrin said. "I did not expect it to be so beautiful." Jisoo laughed. "Most people do not expect that. They think Earth is ugly and small. They think humans are ugly and small. But we have learned to find beauty in small things." She looked at him with serious eyes. "I never got to thank you properly for saving my life." "You do not need to thank me," Torrin said. "I only did what was right. And that is exactly why I need to thank you," Jisoo said. "Because doing the right thing was hard. It would have been easy to walk past me like everyone else. But you stopped. You helped. You risked everything." She took his hand with both of her hands. "My brother wanted to be here today, but he is busy with the fleet. He asked me to tell you something. He said that you are always welcome in our home. You are family now." Torrin felt that strange wetness in his eyes again. Family. The word meant so much. "I would like that," he said. Behind them, a door opened. Ambassador Yu Mai-rei walked out into the garden. She looked tired but happy. "It is done," she said. "What is done?" Jisoo asked. "The council has surrendered. They have agreed to all our demands. Torrin is officially pardoned. The laws about restricted species have been removed. Humans are now free to travel and work anywhere in the galaxy without restrictions." Mai-rei smiled at Torrin. "And they have created a new law. The Torrin Law, they are calling it. It says that anyone who saves a life in danger, regardless of species, is protected from punishment. Kindness is no longer a crime in this galaxy." Torrin did not know what to say. A law named after him. A law that protected kindness. He had never imagined such a thing. "There is one more thing," Mai-rei said. "The council wants to meet with you, Torrin. They want to apologize in person. And they want to ask if you would be willing to serve as a special ambassador. A bridge between humans and the other species of the galaxy." "Me?" Torrin said. "Why me?" "Because you showed them what is possible," Mai-rei said. "You showed them that species can help each other without fear. You showed them that kindness is stronger than laws. That is exactly what this galaxy needs right now." Torrin thought about the offer. It was a big responsibility. He would have to leave his old life behind. He would have to learn new languages and customs. He would have to face people who had wanted him dead. But he would also have the chance to change things. To make the galaxy a better place. To help others the way he had helped Jisoo. "I will do it," he said. Mai-rei nodded. "Good. We will meet you. There is much work to be done." She went back inside, leaving Torrin and Jisoo alone in the garden. They stood in silence for a while, watching the flowers move in the wind. Birds flew overhead, singing their simple songs. The sun was warm and golden. "What happens now?" Torrin asked. Jisoo thought about the question. "Now we build something new," she said. "A galaxy where kindness is rewarded instead of punished. Where species help each other instead of ignoring each other. It will not be easy. There will be problems and fights and setbacks. But I think we can do it." She looked up at the sky. "My mother used to say that the universe is what we make of it. If we choose fear, we get darkness. If we choose kindness, we get light. You chose kindness when you saved me. And look what happened. Everything changed. Torin followed her gaze to the sky. Somewhere up there, past the clouds and the atmosphere, human ships floated in formation. Somewhere up there, council members were signing new laws. Somewhere up there, the galaxy was learning a lesson it would never forget. "I have a question," Torin said. "What is it?" "Why do humans care so much?" "About strangers. About people they have never met. You risked your whole civilization for me. Why?" Jisoo smiled softly. "I think it is because we know what it feels like to be alone," she said. "We know what it feels like to be small and weak and afraid. For most of our history, we were alone. We had no one but each other. We learned that the only way to survive was to take care of each other. To never leave anyone behind." She squeezed his hand. "When you saved me, you became one of us. You joined our family. And we protect our family with everything we have. That is just who we are." Torin nodded slowly. He understood now. Humans were not dangerous because they were violent. They were dangerous because they loved too much. They cared too deeply. They would burn the galaxy to protect someone they loved. It was a terrifying thought, but also a beautiful one. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy changed. Human ships traveled freely between stars. Human traders opened shops on stations that had once ignored them. Human diplomats sat in council meetings. Their voices finally heard. And everywhere they went, they carried the same message. Help those in need. Protect those who protect you. Never let kindness go. UNREWARDED. The Galactic Council still existed, but it was different now. The old arrogance was gone. The old certainty was broken. They had learned that even the smallest species could shake the foundations of their power. As for Torin, he became famous. Species across the galaxy wanted to meet him. They wanted to hear his story. They wanted to understand why a simple medic had risked everything for a human stranger. He told them the truth. "I saw someone who needed help," he said. "I could not walk away. It was the only choice I could make and still be myself." And in that simple answer, the galaxy found something they had lost long ago. Hope that things could be different. Hope that kindness was not weakness. Hope that even in a cold and dark universe, there was still light worth fighting for. On Earth, Jisoo returned to her work as a trader. But now she flew a bigger ship with a crew that protected her. She traveled to places no human had ever been before. She made friends and solved problems and built bridges between worlds. And sometimes, when she flew past Station Villa 9, she thought about that day when she almost died. She thought about Torin stopping to help her. She thought about how one small act of kindness had changed everything. The universe was different now, because one person had chosen to help, because humans had chosen to remember. And because kindness, in the end, was the most powerful force in the galaxy. The story of Torin and Jisoo spread across the stars. It became a legend, a reminder to everyone who heard it. If you help a human, Earth will never forget. If you hurt a human, Earth will never forgive. And if you are a human in danger, somewhere out there, 400 ships are waiting to bring you home. The prison moon Kef 7 was a dark and terrible place. It floated in space far from any sun, covered in ice and rock. The prison was built deep underground where it was always cold. Prisoners sent there rarely came back. Torin had been in his cell for 3 days. The cell was small and dirty. The walls were made of black metal. There was no window, no light except for a dim lamp in the ceiling. He sat on a thin bed and waited to die. He was not afraid of death. He had lived a good life. He had helped many people. He had a daughter who loved him and friends who would remember him. But he was sad that he would never see them again. Sometimes, when it was very quiet, He thought about the human woman he had saved. Park Jisoo. He remembered her face turning blue, her body shaking on the floor. He remembered the moment when she opened her eyes and took her first breath of clean air. That moment was worth everything. He did not regret his choice. If he had to do it again, he would make the same decision. Some things were more important than laws. Some things were more important than staying safe. The door to his cell opened suddenly. Torin looked up, expecting to see the guards who would take him to his execution. But instead, he saw something strange. A human stood in the doorway. The human was a man, tall and strong, wearing black armor. He had a weapon in his hands and a serious look on his face. Behind him, Torin could hear sounds of fighting. Screams and explosions and running feet. "Are you Torin?" the human asked. Torin nodded slowly. He did not understand what was happening. "My name is Captain Beak Suho," the human said. "I am here to get you out." "I do not understand," Torin said. "How are you here? Why are you here?" Captain Suho smiled. "A woman named Park Jisoo sent a message home. She told us what you did for her. Earth decided that we could not let you die for saving one of us." He reached out his hand. "Come on." We did not have much time. Torin took the human's hand and stood up. His legs were weak from sitting so long, but he forced himself to walk. Captain Suho led him out of the cell and into a long corridor. The prison was in chaos. Human soldiers were everywhere, fighting with prison guards. Alarms screamed. Red lights flashed. Smoke filled the air. "Stay close to me," Captain Suho said. "My team will protect you." They moved through the prison quickly. Other human soldiers joined them, forming a circle around Torin. They moved like one creature, fast and organized. Torin had heard stories about human soldiers. He had heard they were fierce and loyal. Now he saw that the stories were true. A group of prison guards blocked their path. They were big and carried heavy weapons. "Stop!" the lead guard shouted. "You cannot take the prisoner." Captain Suho raised his weapon. "We can and we will. Move aside or die." The guards looked at each other. They saw the human soldiers with their cold eyes and steady hands. They saw that these humans were not afraid. They saw that these humans would fight to the last breath. The guards moved aside. Captain Suho nodded. "Smart choice." They kept moving, upstairs and through hallways, past crying prisoners and frightened workers. The humans did not hurt anyone who did not try to stop them. They only wanted Torin. Finally, they reached the surface of the moon. A human ship waited there, its engines burning blue against the black sky. More soldiers stood outside, keeping watch. "Get inside," Captain Suho said. Torin climbed into the ship. It was warm inside, much warmer than the prison. He sat down in the seat and felt his body relax for the first time in days. Captain Suho sat down across from him. The ship lifted off and flew into space. Through a small window, Torin could see the moon getting smaller and smaller. He was free. After 3 days of waiting to die, he was free. "I still do not understand," Torin said. "You came all this way for me? You fought through a prison for me? Why?" Captain Suho was quiet for a moment. He seemed to be thinking about how to answer. "When I was young," he said, "my father told me a story. He said that humans used to fight each other all the time. Wars and battles and violence. We almost destroyed ourselves many times." He looked at Torin with serious eyes. "But then we went to the stars. We met other species. And we learned something important. We learned that the galaxy is cold and dark and does not care about anyone. We learned that the only way to survive is to help each other. To be kind when kindness is hard. To stand together when standing alone is easier." He leaned forward. "You showed kindness to one of us when it could have cost you your life. That means you are one of us now. You are family, and humans do not abandon family. Torin felt something strange happening to his eyes. They were getting wet. On his world, this was called crying. He had not done it since he was a child. "Thank you," he said. "Thank you for coming for me." Captain Suho smiled. "You can thank Jisoo. She's waiting for you on Earth." "She is alive?" "She is okay. She is perfect. She has been worried about you. She will be very happy to see you." The ship flew through space, past human warships that hung like stars against the darkness. Torin looked at them all. 400 ships. An entire fleet. All of them had come for him. He thought about what Captain Suho had said. Family. The humans considered him family now. It was a strange thought. He had spent his whole life thinking of humans as something to be avoided. Something dangerous. Something restricted. But they were not dangerous. They were kind. They were loyal. They protected those who helped them with everything they had. Maybe the council was wrong about humans, Torin thought. Maybe humans were exactly what this galaxy needed. The ship flew on, carrying Torin toward Earth, toward Jisoo, toward a new life. Behind them, on the prison moon, the remaining guards looked at the destruction the humans had left behind. They looked at the broken doors and empty cells. They looked at each other with new understanding in their eyes. The humans had come for their friend, and nothing in the galaxy had been able to stop them. News of the rescue spread fast. Within hours, every species in the galaxy knew what had happened. The humans had attacked a prison moon. The humans had taken their friend back. The humans had showed that kindness to them would not go unrewarded. On 100 different worlds, people began to talk. They talked about the small human woman who had almost died. They talked about the medic who had saved her. They talked about the fleet that had come to repay that kindness. And slowly, quietly, they began to think differently about humans. Maybe the council was wrong, they thought. Maybe humans were not animals to be restricted and watched. Maybe humans were exactly the friends this galaxy had been waiting for. The Galactic Council met in a great hall on the planet Villar Prime. The hall was ancient, built thousands of years ago when the first species learned to travel between stars. Its walls were made of white stone that glowed with soft light. Its ceiling was so high that clouds sometimes formed inside. 12 species sat on the council. They came from all corners of the galaxy. Some had scales. Some had fur. Some had skin that changed colors with their moods. They were old and powerful and very sure of themselves. Today, they were meeting to discuss a small matter. A medic named Torin had broken the law by helping a human. His trial was scheduled for tomorrow. It would be quick. The result was already decided. Torin would die. But first, they had to deal with an unexpected visitor. Ambassador Yu Mei Rei stood at the entrance of the Great Hall. She was a small woman, barely 5 feet tall. She was 52 years old, with gray in her black hair. She wore a simple blue dress with the flag of Earth on her shoulder. She carried no weapons. She brought no guards. She looked very alone in that huge room. The council members watched her with curious eyes. Humans rarely came to council meetings. They were a restricted species, after all. They were supposed to stay quiet and stay away. "Ambassador Yoon," said the High Chancellor, a tall creature with silver scales. "This is unexpected. You did not ask for permission to speak to the council." "I did not think I needed permission," Myre said. Her voice was calm and clear. "I am here to discuss a matter of great importance." "And what matter is that?" "The arrest of the medic called Torin." A low sound went through the hall. Some council members laughed. Others looked confused. Why would a human care about this? "Torin broke our laws," the High Chancellor said. "He will face justice. This is not a human matter." "He saved a human life," Myre said. That makes it a human matter. He interfered with a restricted species. The law is clear. The penalty is clear. There is nothing to discuss. Myre smiled. It was a small smile, but something in it made the council members feel uncomfortable. High Chancellor, she said, I have been the ambassador of Earth for 20 years. In that time, I have watched your council make many decisions about my people. You decided that we are too young to govern ourselves. You decided that we are too dangerous to be trusted. You made laws that say we cannot be helped, even when we are dying. She took a step forward. I have accepted these things because I believed that peace was more important than pride. I believed that one day you would see that humans are not animals, that we deserve respect. Her smile faded. But yesterday, a woman named Park Jisoo almost died on one of your stations. She fell to the floor, unable to breathe, and your people walked past her. They stepped over her body like she was trash. They let her die because your laws told them to. Marie's voice grew harder. One person stopped. One person remembered that kindness is more important than rules. Torin saved her life. And for that, you are going to kill him. The High Chancellor raised his hand. Ambassador, I understand your feelings. But the law is the law. We cannot make exceptions. You are right, Myre said. You cannot make exceptions. But we can. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small device. She pressed a button. A holographic image appeared in the center of the hall. It showed a document written in human language and council language. This is a formal declaration, Myre said. Earth hereby declares war against the Volari Collective and any species that supports them. This state of war will continue until Torin is released and the laws regarding restricted species are changed. The hall exploded with noise. Council members shouted and stood up from their seats. Some laughed. Others looked shocked. The High Chancellor raised his hands for silence, but it took a long time for the noise to stop. Ambassador, the High Chancellor said, his voice filled with disbelief. You cannot be serious. Earth declaring war? Against the collective? Against the council? You do not have the power. You do not have the ships. You would be destroyed in days. Perhaps, Myre said, but I do not think so. Your fleet is small. Your technology is young. What could you possibly do against the combined might of the galaxy? Myre pressed another button on her device. Why don't you ask your sensors? For a moment, nothing happened. Then, one by one, council members began receiving messages on their personal devices. Their faces changed from amusement to confusion to fear. What is this? The High Chancellor demanded. A Volari general rushed into the hall. His face was pale gray, which meant he was terrified. High Chancellor, he said, his voice shaking. 400 human warships have just emerged from hyperspace. They are in orbit around this planet. The hall went completely silent. Myre nodded slowly. 400 ships. Our entire fleet. Every weapon we have. We brought them all. You cannot do this, the High Chancellor said. This is madness. No, Myre said. This is what humans do when someone hurts one of us. This is what we do when someone helps one of us and gets punished for it. She looked around the hall at all the powerful creatures who had looked down on humanity for so long. You made laws saying humans should not be helped. You treated us like animals. You let us die on your floors. But you forgot something important about humans. She stepped closer to the High Chancellor. We remember. We remember every kindness and every cruelty. We remember who helps us and who hurts us. And we never, ever let our friends suffer alone. The High Chancellor's scales had turned dark blue, which meant he was afraid. What do you want? He asked. I want Torin released. Today. I want him brought to this hall, alive and unharmed. I want the laws about restricted species removed. And I want a formal apology from this council to every human who has suffered because of your rules. And if we refuse..." Myray shrugged. "Then we fight. We probably lose. But I promise you, we will hurt you badly before we fall. We will burn your stations and your ships. We will make you bleed for every human life you have ignored. And even if you destroy us completely, there will be other species watching. They will see what happens when kindness is punished. They will see what happens when the council makes enemies of those who only wanted to help." She smiled again. "Is that really what you want? To be remembered as the council that destroyed humanity because one medic saved one life?" The High Chancellor looked around at his fellow council members. He saw fear in their eyes. He saw doubt. For the first time in centuries, someone had challenged them. Someone had refused to follow their rules. "Give us time to discuss," he said. "You have 1 hour," Myray said. "After that, my ships will start shooting." She turned and walked toward the exit. Her footsteps echoed in the silent hall. Before she reached the door, the High Chancellor spoke again. "Ambassador Yoon." She stopped and looked back. "Why?" he asked. "Why risk everything for one person you have never met?" Myray thought about the question for a moment. "Because Torin did the same thing," she said. "He risked everything for one person he had never met. He saw a human dying, and he chose to help, even though it could cost him his life." She smiled softly. "How could we do anything less for him?" She walked out of the hall. Behind her, the council began to argue. But they all knew how this would end. The humans had come for their friend. The humans would not leave without him, and the galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. The message traveled across space at the speed of light. It passed through relay stations and communication satellites. It crossed empty darkness and busy shipping lanes. It took 6 hours to reach Earth. Commander Kang Do-yoon was sleeping when the message arrived. He was a tall man with broad shoulders and a serious face. He was 34 years old, 8 years older than his sister. Their father had died in a mining accident when they were young, and Do-yoon had raised Jisoo like she was his own daughter. He had taught her to be strong. He had taught her to survive. And then she had left Earth to become a traitor among the stars. Do-yoon had not wanted her to go. Space was dangerous for humans. The galaxy did not like them. But Jisoo was stubborn, just like their mother had been. She wanted to see the universe. She wanted to be free. So Do-yoon had let her go. And every night he worried about her. His communication device beeped in the darkness of his room. He opened his eyes and looked at the small screen. A message from Jisoo. His heart beat faster. She usually sent messages once a week, short notes saying she was okay. But this was not her usual time. He sat up and pressed play. Jisoo's face appeared on the screen. She looked scared. Her eyes were red like she had been crying. Behind her, he could see the inside of her small ship. "Do-yoon," she said. Her voice was shaking. "Something happened today?" "I almost died." Do-yoon felt his blood turn cold. "My suit broke. The oxygen stopped working. I fell down in the middle of a station and no one helped me. No one. They just walked past me like I was nothing. Like I was garbage on the floor." Jisoo wiped her eyes. But then someone did help. An alien. A medic named Torin. He broke the law to save me. He knew what would happen to him, and he still did it. He put that breathing thing on my face, and he saved my life. She paused. Her face became harder. And then they arrested him. They put him in chains and took him away. Because he saved a human. Because he saved me. They are going to punish him, Do-yoon. Maybe kill him. I do not know. But I know it is wrong. He did a good thing, and they are treating him like a criminal. Jisoo looked directly into the camera. "I am just a traitor. I cannot do anything. But you are a commander of the fleet. You know people. Important people. Please, Delian. Please, help him. He saved my life. We cannot let them hurt him for that." The message ended. Delian sat in the darkness for a long time. His hands were shaking. His mind was racing. He thought about his little sister lying on a cold floor, dying, while aliens walked past her like she was nothing. The image made him sick with anger. But then he thought about Torin, a stranger who had risked everything to save her. In a galaxy that hated humans, one person had shown kindness. Do-hyun got out of bed and put on his uniform. It was the middle of the night, but he did not care. He had calls to make. His first call was to Admiral Song Hana. She was 60 years old with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had led the Earth fleet for 15 years. She had seen wars and peace talks and everything in between. She was tough and smart, and she did not like being woken up at 3 in the morning. "This better be important, Commander," she said when she answered. "It is, Admiral. It is, Admiral. I need you to watch something." Do-hyun sent her the message from Jisoo. He watched the Admiral's face as she watched it. He saw her eyes grow cold. He saw her jaw tighten when the message ended. Admiral Song was quiet for a moment. "Your sister?" she asked. "Yes, Admiral. She is safe now?" "Yes, Admiral. She is on her way back to Earth." Admiral Song nodded slowly. "And this alien? This Torin? He is in custody?" "According to my sister, yes. The station guards arrested him for unauthorized intervention with a restricted species. That is what they call it when someone helps a human." The Admiral's eyes flashed with anger. "I know what they call it, Commander. I have read the Galactic Council's laws about humans. We are restricted like dangerous animals. We are not allowed to be helped or hurt. Just watched. Like we are some kind of experiment. Yes, Admiral. I have hated those laws for 30 years, Admiral Song said. But we are small. We are young. We cannot fight the whole galaxy." Do-hyun said nothing. He waited. Admiral Song looked at him through the screen. "But this is different, is it not? This is not about politics or power. This is about a good person being punished for doing the right thing." "Yes, Admiral. Send me everything you have. Every piece of information about this Torin, where they are keeping him, what charges they are bringing against him. Everything." "Yes, Admiral. And Commander?" Admiral Song's voice became soft. "I am glad your sister is okay. Thank you, Admiral." The call ended. Over the next 12 hours, Do-hyun gathered information. He called contacts on a dozen different stations. He paid for secrets. He threatened and promised and begged. And slowly, piece by piece, he learned the truth about what was happening to Torin. The news was not good. Torin had been transferred from Station Velar to a prison moon called Keth 7. It was a dark and cold place where the Galactic Council sent people. They wanted to forget. The prisoners there were not treated well. Many of them died. Torin's trial was scheduled for 3 days from now. The charge was unauthorized intervention with a restricted species. The penalty was death. Death. For saving a life. Do-hyun brought this information to Admiral Song. She read it with a face like stone. Then she called a meeting of the United Fleet Command. They gathered in a large room with walls made of glass. Through the windows, Earth hung in the blackness of space, blue and green and beautiful. 20 admirals and generals sat around a long table. They were the most powerful military leaders on Earth. Admiral Song played Jisoo's message for them. Then she showed them the information about Torin and his trial. The room was silent for a long time. "What do you want to do?" asked General Park, the oldest man in the room. Admiral Song stood up and walked to the window. She looked at Earth for a moment. Then she turned back to face them. "For 200 years, Humanity has been treated like children by the Galactic Council, she said. We have followed their rules. We have stayed quiet. We have accepted our place as a restricted species. And what has it gotten us? Nothing. They still see us as animals. They still let us die on cold station floors while they walk past. She pointed at the screen where Torrin's picture was displayed. This alien saw something different. He saw a human being who needed help. And he helped her. Not because it was safe. Not because it was legal. But because it was right. Admiral Song's voice grew stronger. If we let him die for that, we are no better than the council that condemned him. We are saying that human lives do not matter. That kindness toward humans is a crime. She looked at each person in the room. I say we get him out. I say we show the galaxy that humans protect those who protect them. I say we make them understand that we are not animals to be watched and ignored. We are people, and we take care of our own. The room was quiet. Then, one by one, the leaders began to nod. What is the plan? General Park asked. Admiral Song smiled. It was not a nice smile. First, she said, we send a message. Station Villa 9 was not a place for humans. Everyone knew this. The air was thin and cold. The lights were too bright for human eyes. The food was strange and sometimes dangerous. But humans came anyway, because humans always went where they were not supposed to go. Park Jisoo was one of these humans. She was 26 years old, with short black hair and tired eyes. She worked as a trader, buying and selling goods between different planets. It was not easy work, but it paid well. She had been doing this job for 3 years now. Today was supposed to be a simple day. She had come to Station Villa 9 to sell medical supplies to a buyer from the outer colonies. The deal was done. The money was in her account. All she had to do was walk back to her ship and leave. But the universe had other plans. Jisoo was walking through the main corridor of the station when she felt something wrong. Her chest felt tight. Her breathing became hard. She looked down at her suit and saw the small red light blinking on her chest panel. Oxygen failure. Her suit was not giving her enough air. She tried to stay calm. She had trained for this. She reached for the emergency button on her wrist, but her fingers were already weak. The world around her started to spin. The faces of aliens walking past her became blurry shapes of color. Help, she tried to say, but no sound came out. She fell to the ground. Her body hit the cold metal floor hard. She could see the ceiling above her, those two bright lights hurting her eyes. Aliens walked past her. Some looked. None stopped. Humans were not their problem. Humans were restricted species. Helping a human could mean trouble. Jisoo felt her eyes closing. So this is how I die, she thought. Alone on a station far from home. Far from her brother. Far from Earth. She thought about her mother who had died when she was young. Maybe she would see her again soon. But then someone stopped. Torrin was a medic of the Villari Collective. He had 4 arms and blue-gray skin. His eyes were large and black, like deep pools of water. He had worked on Station Villa 9 for 12 years. He had seen many things. He had seen fights and deaths and births. He had saved many lives, but he had never saved a human. He was not supposed to save humans. The law was clear about this. Humans were a restricted species. They were young and dangerous. The Galactic Council had decided long ago that humans should be left alone. No helping. No hurting. Just watching from far away. But Torrin looked down at the young woman on the floor, and he could not walk away. Her face was turning blue. Her lips were pale. She had maybe 2 minutes left to live. Maybe less. He could see her chest moving up and down very slowly. She was fighting to breathe, fighting to live. Torrin looked around. Other aliens were watching now. They knew what he was thinking. They knew what he might do. Some of them shook their heads. "Do not do it," their eyes said. "It is not worth the trouble." But Torin thought about his own daughter. She was young like this human. She had the same fighting spirit in her eyes. If his daughter was dying on some strange station far from home, would he not want someone to help her? He made his choice. Torin dropped to his knees beside Jizu. He opened his medical bag with two of his hands while the other two checked her suit. The oxygen tank was broken. A small crack in the seal. It was a cheap suit, probably bought from some dishonest seller. These things happened to humans because humans were poor and could not afford good equipment. He pulled out a small device from his bag. It was a breathing helper, designed for Valari lungs. It would not work perfectly for a human, but it would work enough. He pressed it against her face and turned it on. Clean air flowed into Jisu's lungs. Her body shook. Her eyes opened wide. She took a deep breath, then another. Color started to return to her face. She was alive. She was going to live. Torin felt relief wash over him. But that relief did not last long. "Medic Torin," a cold voice said from behind him. "Step away from the human." Torin turned and saw 3 station guards standing there. They wore black armor and carried weapons. Their faces showed no emotion. Behind them, a small crowd had gathered to watch. "She was dying," Torin said. "I had to help." "You know the law," the lead guard said. "Unauthorized intervention with a restricted species. You are under arrest." Jizu was sitting up now. She looked confused and scared. She did not understand what was happening. She looked at Torin, at the blue-gray alien who had saved her life, and she saw the guards putting metal bands around his 4 wrists. "Wait," she said. Her voice was weak but clear. "He saved me. He did nothing wrong." "Human, you are not permitted to speak here," the guard said. "Return to your ship and leave this station. This matter does not concern you, but he saved my life." The guards did not answer. They pulled Torin to his feet and started walking him away. Torin looked back at Jisu one last time. He tried to smile, to show her that it was okay, that he did not regret his choice. But Jisu saw the fear in his eyes. She saw the way his hands were shaking. She saw that he knew what was coming for him, and it was not good. The crowd parted as the guards took Torin away. Within minutes, it was like nothing had happened. Aliens went back to their business. The corridor was busy again with people buying and selling and living their lives. But Jisu did not move. She sat on the cold floor, breathing the station's thin air, thinking about what had just happened. A stranger had risked everything to save her. And now that stranger was going to be punished for it. She thought about the guard's words. "Return to your ship and leave." That was the smart thing to do. That was the safe thing to do. She was just one human. She could not fight the Galactic Council. She could not change their laws, but she could tell someone who might. Jisu stood up on shaking legs. She fixed her broken suit as best as she could and started walking toward the docking bay. She had a message to send. A message to Earth. A message to her brother. Commander Kang Do-yoon needed to know what had happened here today.